Thank you. Some more folks. All right, it is 10:31, so we will go ahead and get started. Maddie, if you want, oh, thank you, you beat me to it. So you can see our agenda today. A lot of good stuff, but relatively light. We put a slide in towards the end because some of the things that I know this community is so excited to talk about, like the state manager training, and the learning governance, that's going to be our primary focus in next month's meeting. So I'll speak to that towards the end of today's presentation. I'm also interested next month to get some of your feedback on some other things you might want to see in this learning community. Right now, we are heavily focused on the new LMS and the Next Gen project and the implementation of Georgia at Work, because we are in the heart of it, right? We're on this last stretch and go live is quickly approaching. So I can't thank you all enough for attending and being involved and asking these questions. The amount of change management that's coming to our state, it is vast. And anything we can do to better socialize and get things out there more and give
this
you,
right here ready for Brandy.
if somebody will mute their mic, please.
Learning part of.
There we go. Boop, got it. So the fact that we're able to have this meeting every month as another outlet to share with you all, as well as get your feedback, is invaluable. So thank you for bearing with us through this project and contributing to it in such a positive manner. A couple months ago, when Ryan and the training team came and asked for volunteers to be trainers and producers for our end user training, you really showed up, and I was blown away by your responses and your participation and your willingness to help. This is monumental for our state, and I hope that you all are as honored to be a part of it as I feel. So we'll go ahead, and I'm just going to pass it right on over to Ryan McClester, our training director from the State Accounting Office. He is our training work stream state lead. So he is over our end user training. It has since been kind of divided out as we reach this home stretch. I would love for you all to meet Melanie Marks probably in the next meeting. I'm going to see if I can get her to speak to you all. She's focusing on the HCM end user training. And then y'all know we have Mary Chapman, who her and her team put a huge effort into everything, all things state procurement. So we have an amazing team, but Ryan is our state training lead, and I'm going to pass it over to him so he can provide some updates to you all.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Holly. I really appreciate you giving me some time to be able to speak here. Most of you have seen this particular slide already. There is a few updates to this slide that I wanted to identify. And so all of you are familiar with the 5 W's and the H here. The thing I want to direct your attention to for this enrollment, and you can see that when does training start? And so we're going to have auto enrollment that's still going to happen on June 2nd. We are going to do a rolling for this enrollment for the e-learning. So this will be rolled out, and it's going to be rolled out in a gradual way. One of the things that we're trying to do is make sure that we don't everybody doesn't rush out and take all their trainings out the gate. And so we're going to do kind of a gradual rollout. You will be able to have access to be able to retake these learnings, but this is going to be a gradual rollout that we're going to do so that everyone will get it on time for their training, we like to call it, so that that information will be fresh on their minds. A next thing that I want to talk about, and just for this particular community, you're going to see that we have a couple of dates on there for June through September 15th, and you can see that listed a couple of places. That was the 18th before. And we changed that to the 15th because of some updated information from the learning work stream. They are going to take what's called a snapshot of the LMS so that information can transfer over to the new LMS. So that's going to happen on the 16th. Anything that's not completed by that 16th date at 12 o'clock will not go over to the new LMS. So we just went ahead and made it, hey, September 15th will be the last time that you'll be able to basically complete these things. Because if you don't complete it by that, technically the 16th at 12 o'clock, your information is not going to get carried over. So we wanted to make sure that everybody on this call knew about that. I'm sure Holli has talked about that multiple times in her different meetings, but I wanted to just bring it to the attention of our slides that we have identified here as well. All right, let's go to the next slide. And so this is just a little bit more information to kind of talk about what I've already indulged in. So you see the e-learning enrollment, talked about that, instructor-led training, same things. If that will apply to, let's say, if an assessment for an instructor-led training, if a person hasn't completed that by that same date, that September 15th date, then that information is it's not going to carry over. So that's something that's really important. Again, I want to spotlight the Training Support Center. You see that as bullet number 3, and then on the left, you'll see some information for 3 again. The Training Support Center is a very important place to be able to get updated information like your learning pathways for what you need to take for your particular role. Schedules will be on that. We just finished re-updating the finance schedule. We're going to put a kind of a massive schedule together for everybody, but there'll be an HCM schedule, a procurement schedule, and there's also going to be a finance schedule on there, kind of easily consumable for the public to be able to look at. So you'll find that on there as well. There's some training frequently asked questions on there. So things that people might want to take a look at. Just, hey, I've had this problem. Let me see if it's been answered before already. So a lot of good stuff on here. We're going to spotlight. You can see in number 1 and number 2 on the left. We're going to spotlight that just a little bit later. But just to talk about what those are, you will get emails corresponding with when you get auto-enrolled and when you are enrolled in instructor-led training. So that will be something that we're going to talk about in more detail later. But you will get even emails confirming when you have been auto-enrolled, and when you do, when your members or team members will enroll in instructor-led training themselves, they'll also get something to be able to add to their calendar. So we'll talk about that in more detail a little bit later on down the line. All right, let's go to the next slide. All right, I just want to point this out for this particular room. We are going to have some trainings at the GCHR conference. I'm sure most of you probably attend that or are affiliated with somebody who has attended or is attending that. And so we will have trainings there. There's going to be 2 trainings, going to be time and absence and manage HR transactions. And let me roll it back just a little bit. It's going to be more towards kind of a refresher style training. We want to make sure that everybody gets their implementation during the regular times, but if anybody wants to attend any kind of refresher, hey, I want to get another look at this, I want to take a look at these courses, we will have those there. We're going to have 2 classrooms that you will be able to attend these refresher training courses. And then we're going to have one, we're calling it the war room, where you can just gather information about the project itself, any information that you want to ask questions about. We'll have some people in that room who are monitoring just anything that you want to throw at them for the next gen project. All right, let's go to the next slide. All right, and this is just a little recap. You can see June 2nd. Again, is when that auto enrollment is going to be. And then some other dates kind of cascade where we're talking about. You can see June 2nd to September 15th a couple times. June 23rd will be when instructor-led training will be able to get enrolled in. so people will be able to sign up during that time. Training delivery for instructor-led training will happen in July through September 15th again. And then you can see down here that go live will be October 2025. All right, let's go to the next slide. And so that was the last one for me. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Just want to make sure we get a couple updates to y'all as we roll those out. You can also reach out to the Next Gen email box or the Next Gen training email box as well. I'll put the link in the chat for the Next Gen training email box, just in case anybody has any questions. We have somebody who is monitoring that and is recording the questions, just in case anybody else has those same questions. We have like a tracker for that as well. All right, I'll turn it back over to Holli.
Thank you so much, Ryan. And I can't stress enough how helpful it is that we're tracking those through the Next Gen training mailbox, as well as some other workstream designated mailboxes as well. I see we have one question in the chat, Ryan. Allison, auto enrollment on June 2nd is for all end users. Yes, that is correct. And what they'll do is, like Ryan spoke to, it's almost like a staggered rollout. So you're not hit with 20 e-learnings at one time. You'll be enrolled in these into our legacy LMS and Tellem, which you probably know as Team Georgia Learning. And the first things to go out are those that are relevant to all end users, like basic navigation. If you haven't already taken it, you might have taken it if you were a tester. I think employee self-service is one. It's some great trainings, and the team's done a really good job keeping it very streamlined because we are being overwhelmed. And I say we, not project people, state employees. We're being overwhelmed with this change right now. So we want to keep it as straightforward and easy to follow as possible. And the training team's done a really good job building that out for everyone. Great question. And then I see Craig has a comment as well. Registration is now open. Love it, Craig. Thank you. So y'all check out Craig's comment in the chat if you are interested in attending the GCHR conference. All right, so we have spoken about another demo. So if you all have been here since our first community meeting in December, we did a quick demo in one of our tenants. Now, if you are involved in this project, or if you've been a part of any large implementation before, you will understand that there are multiple tenants, right? And they get refreshed and changed. So I logged in the other day because I have 2 demos and 2 large meetings coming up today and next week. And the tenant management schedule has shifted. Well, I shouldn't say it's shifted. It's in place. It's on time. And I'm locked out of the tenant that had all the pretty things in it. And I'm in a tenant that doesn't have all the pretty things in it. So what we've done is I've put some screenshots instead on the next few slides to give you a quick overview. Some of you have seen this, some of you have not, because I know we have a lot of new members who have joined since December. And then I will still go into the tenant briefly to show you a couple things, for instance, how a manager can enroll their team. I'm just forewarning you, and normally I would not, Mary Chapman and I had a discussion about this yesterday, share something that doesn't have, for instance, course images in it. It's just not pretty. But I think that this audience understands where we are at in this project, and you'll be a forgiving audience. That's the tenant that I currently have access to. So that's all part of the growing pains of this. And also, just for reference, Ryan has put the Next Gen training mailbox in the chat. So if you have any questions around end user training, please don't hesitate to reach out, send it through that mailbox so we can track it. All right, so the Georgia at Work Learning Management System, as you know, it is an enterprise-wide LMS. I've spoken previously about our pilot agencies. Those are the agencies that will be placing content into the LMS. And then as we get past go live through the learning governance, we'll decide how and when other agencies are able to upload their content. If you want to know more about that, let me know, and we can always put that back on the agenda again for another meeting. But today I just want to focus on what everyone will see at go live. So all users will be able to consume content at go live, so beginning October 1st. There's a lot of discussions to be had with Ryan and team about sustainment of our end user training, and that will in the future state be housed in the Georgia at Work LMS, and that way you have a new employee, they need to be trained on employee self-service, it'll be available in that catalog. Exactly what that looks like will be socialized out once those are finalized. But the fact that we have a centralized location for this is huge. Currently, as Ryan discussed, all this end user training occurring this summer, we're utilizing Intellum or Team Georgia Learning. And so getting everyone into that and making sure, if there's a lot of back house work that goes into it. If you have a new direct report, a new manager, things like that, we have to run some comparisons with Teamwork and upload those and update the LMS. Well, this new platform eliminates that kind of work, and it's automatic because it's wrapped into our ERP. So we're very, very excited for that. Maddie, you can go to the next slide. Okay, so like I said, I did screenshots. I'm going to tell you what these are, and then I'll log into the tenant, and you'll see the ugly tenant right now, for lack of a better word. So this, when you get into Georgia at Work, I'm not on the Georgia at Work home screen. I'm on the learning dashboard. So I know it's very tiny, but if you look in the upper left-hand corner, you see where it says menu. That is your global navigation. And when you click on menu, you have all the different apps which you're able to edit. And I can show you that in the tenant in just a moment. But if you go to learning, that is your learning home, and that is your learning dashboard. There will be an e-learning on learning that will be pushed out early June. So that's one that will go to all employees. So you'll get this in an actual digital e-learning course. So that is your learning home. You can see you have different options based on your interests. That's where you can pick things you're interested in by how we've organized them by topic. And I'll show you that in just a moment. Next slide. You go down to My Learning. So you can see on the left, My Learning is now highlighted in blue. That's where you can see anything that is required for you. So if something's been assigned to you, for instance, the sexual harassment prevention training, or let's say my manager thought, hey, she needs to take this fleet course for whatever reason, so she's assigned it to me, my manager can do that and set the due date or the duration that I have to complete it within that assignment. I'll show you how easy that is. Anyone in here that's a manager, you will be able to complete this at Go Live. So anything that's required for you, and you can see if it has a due date, it will show the due date on there, and you can access the course directly from that link that says View Course at the bottom of the little worklet there. Next slide. So this is scrolling further down on the My Learning tab. You have View Your Learning History. That is your learning transcript. Now this is very important, and we've sent this information out before, but you will be receiving it again. What history will you see in Georgia at Work? So what we are taking over is active user, that means your current employee, history for active courses. So if you took a course last year inside of Team Georgia Learning or inside of ELMS, because we're taking GDOT's legacy LMS as well, if you've taken it within the last 5 years and that course is still active, then the history will be there. If the course is not active, the history won't be there. So if you ever have questions once you get into Georgia at Work, I want you to refer back to that, and we'll send out something. We'll have it available probably on the website of what history you should expect to see. Most people that will have the most history are those that either have completed some type of certification, maybe with SPD, a certification with GDOT, or if you are a DOAS or GDOT employee, because that is the data we are migrating from a legacy system over. But a lot of people have taken trainings for both of those agencies, and if that training is still active, it will show up. Below that, you see need to drop an enrollment. That's where you can go drop a course. If a course has been assigned to you as required, you cannot drop it. Also, if it's a restricted course, your manager has to approve your enrollment in that course, and therefore they also have to approve you dropping that enrollment. And then personalize your learning preferences. on Learning Home, where it said based on your preferences, that's where you can go and adjust what topics you're interested in seeing. Next slide. All right, so you can see now on the left-hand side, we're down to Discover. This is how you get into the course catalog. So you can either browse the topics. That's basically looking at the different sections, right? Trainings can be tagged to more than one topic. That's an important call out. So if you look through HR and compliance, HR policy and compliance, I think it is, that a course in there might also be tagged in operational training. Depends on the course, depends on how it's been loaded into the system. But if you go down below that, explore the learning catalog, that just takes you directly into the catalog and you can search all the courses there. And there's beautiful, because of our naming convention, if you're looking for a GDOT digital course, you can type GDOT in that search bar, which I'll show you in a moment. And then you can also use the facets on the left-hand side there to say, I'm looking for a digital course, or I'm looking for a blended course. So you can look at those different things. Next slide. Okay, so this is the topics page. So if I were to click Browse Topics, this is what I will see. Now, if you see the first tile there is AASHTO Technical Training Solutions. That is an external content provider that GDOT pays for. So unless you are a GDOT employee, when you log in and you click on topics, you will not see that tile. The same for BizLibrary. We pay a subscription to BizLibrary. It's an external learning content provider. So only DOAS employees that log in will see that tile. And then there's one more, and this the first one of the second row, that's Extended Enterprise Library. That will only be seen by external learners. All right, but everything else, and these topics can change over time. So we did our best through discovery and design, trying to create topics most relevant to the content that's coming in and also most relevant to the enterprise. Over time, if there's a need to add a topic or remove a topic or rename a topic, that's the type of thing that would be passed through our learning governance. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, we don't want to make changes if we don't have to, of course, but that is something that we do understand and anticipate as this grows. A few years down the road, there could be some changes. For instance, right now we've got accounting, finance, and procurement grouped together. And I stand by that because there's not a huge amount of training. Now, if we had a ton of accounting training, maybe coming from SAO, and then a ton more procurement training, we know how impressive our SPD training team is, we might want to divide those out. We might not, but that would be a discussion to have that could be pushed through the learning governance and moved forward. So I just wanted to call that out for a little better clarity on what the future state could look like. Next slide. Okay, so this one I love because I showed you where you can see your learning transcript off of the learning dashboard. There's a second place you can view your learning transcript, and that is if you go to your profile, your employee profile, and then you have a careers tab. There's going to be a learning tab there, certification and training. So you can see those red boxes. In the top screenshot, certifications is highlighted, and then the bottom learning is highlighted. So
Hey,
it's very important.
hey, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm just calling you real quick, hon. Well, they still talking. I just called you real quick.
Oh, I'm gonna mute you, Alicia. There you go. All right, I thought she was talking to me. So what's really important here is understanding what these tabs mean. So certifications. You are able, if you hold a professional certification, to add those here. That exact process I'm not going to speak to because that is handled by the talent module. However, there are also certifications that can be obtained through our learning management system. If you obtain one of those in the learning management system, it automatically shows that certification under this certification tab. So again, there's two parts to that. If you earn a certification, let's say you've earned your SHRM certification, you can go in and put that in here. That process I'm not going to speak to because I'm not over that and I don't want to put any wrong information out there, but you would add it there. If you've earned a certification available in this LMS, then once you complete it, it'll automatically populate here. Now, if you look at the learning tab, that is in the second screenshot. So this is all under your employee profile, and I'll show you this in the tenant, how easy it is to get to. That's going to show your learning transcript, completed trainings from Georgia at Work Learning. Another thing that's here that's not highlighted, if you look in the first screenshot to the right of certifications, you'll see training. This is going to be training that you've taken externally of our LMS. So maybe you attended something and you think it's relevant to your job or your history or whatever it may be, you can go in and add that training to that tab. All right, next slide, Maddie. Okay, so now I want everyone to give me a thumbs up that you understand this is not the pretty tenant and this is not what it will look like at Go Live. Can I get a thumbs up? Okay, awesome, thank you. I really hate to show this. Maddie, I'm gonna take over the screen share. But again, it gives you some insight into what this implementation looks like if you are not on the project. So can everyone see my screen? Great. All right, so this is what it looks like when you log into Georgia at Work. You can see this is a training tenant, so everything is scrambled, including the names. Nothing you can pronounce in here. So here I am on my login page. Up in the top upper left corner is your menu or your global navigation. So if you hear global navigation, it's referring to this menu icon. So we're going to navigate to our global navigation, and you can see I've already got learning up here. If you are going to be an instructor in Georgia at Work, so this is not our instructors for end user training, this is our DOAS instructors or our GDOT instructors, you'll have a learning trainer option, and that's where you can go there. Now, something easy to show you and a little sneak peek to some of the training you'll receive is very simple, how to add apps. What you see and have access to is dependent on your security role. All right, so learning, we all want learning on our menu. So if you don't have learning on day one and you want to easily get to the learning dashboard, you can go down here to add apps and you can search right here, type it in, and it'll bring things up. I've already added learning, so it's not coming up. But if you go back, you can add anything there. You can also edit it, and whatever you want on top or bottom or however you want to order it, you can do that. So I think that's a great way to make your day-to-day a lot easier, that you can edit your menu there. Over down here, again on your home screen, the apps that you most frequently use will populate here. So I'm sure learning will stay on mine because I will be there every single day. Probably time would stay on mine because I want to check my timesheets, right? So let's go on to learning. How are we doing on time? We're doing good. And again, this is our ugly one. Y'all can see there's smoke test courses here. These aren't following naming conventions. There's no course images, and not all of our links are here. I'll speak to these links in a moment as well. But I told you could go to My Learning, and there's where you can view your learning history. So here's your student transcript. So I wanted you all to see how easily that is accessible. And you've got 3 sections. Not started, that means you've enrolled but not begun. In progress, you've started but not finished. And your learning history, these are completed trainings. So we're going to go back. And there was a learning home button there. I could have hit that. Fighting fatigue. Someone assigned that to me. Isn't that great? So you can always go to view course right there, or you could go into the catalog. So let me go back to learning, and we're going to go into our ugly catalog. I keep saying that because I want you to know this is not what it's going to look like. So discover, browse learning takes you directly into the catalog. Browse topics takes you to that topics page. I'm going to go to browse learning and go straight into the catalog. So here you can see that there is another search bar. So y'all see that? There's one at the top that searches the entire system. And then you have a learning specific search bar. It is very important to get used to that because sometimes we would tell people search for SPD and all SPD courses will show up because of our naming convention, or type in GDOT. But if you type it up here, you'll get a lot of different things. So if you're looking to browse the catalog, you want to make sure you're using this search bar. And then down here, I told you one of the best things you can do is filter by type. So if you're looking for an e-learning, there's that digital course. If you're looking for a program, any of our certifications will be programs. You would look there. Blended courses, that's where any of your course offerings, which are your instructor-led trainings, are going to be found. All right. So now let's say 4 strategies for handling difficult people. I'm going to pick that one. I am a manager and I want to enroll my team. So how many managers do we have in here? Raise your hand, give a thumbs up. How many managers? How many of you have direct reports? And how many of you want to enroll them in training whenever you want? Yes, love it. Thank you. So this is what you'll do. You'll pick the course, and right here you'll see interested in your team doing this course. Why, yes, I am. You can click on enroll my team. When you do that, it will pull up some options. Here's my pretty team, and I don't know any of their names. Shame on me. Assign as a required learning. Do I want to suggest this and just have it on their learning dashboard as a suggested learning? I would hit no. Do I want to require it? Yes, I want them to take this. Who do I want to take it? The whole team? I can click up here. Or maybe I don't want, we're going to call him ZG. I don't want ZG to take it. You can also select the due date. So you can pick a specific date, or you can give them a duration to complete it within. So maybe we'll do date, and we'll say, let's see, it's already the end of May. So we'll say we'll give them till 6/15/2025. I've got 2 of my team members. Please complete as soon as possible. You're able to put a comment in there that your team members will see. You hit submit. Oh, I got an alert. Yellow is a soft halt. Red, if you get a red error, that's a hard halt. That means you've missed something and you can't move forward. So right here, it just says there are no reminders on this content. How helpful is that? So that means that this particular course I've selected and I've decided to assign to them, they're not going to get a reminder saying this is due in 2 days or this is due in 7 days. So if I want to create a reminder to notify learners, that would be a separate process. So it's just letting me know. And I think that's very, very helpful. So, okay, we're good. Now we can submit it. We've read that little alert. And now I can see I've enrolled those people, and I can review the details of that enrollment all right here. And once they have completed it, or I want to check on their progress, you can type in my team's learning. And that's going to pull a report. So you see right here, my team's learning report. So all managers are able to pull this report in the system. And look at that, I can see all the learning history for all my employees. It's pages long, so if I wanted to filter this by worker, I could. If I want to export it to Excel, I can do that as well. So I think these are some really great features. It's very user-friendly, easy to follow, and I'm really excited for you all to get your hands on it in October. So one more thing I wanted to show you. Do you remember the slide where you can also look at learning, training, and certifications through your employee profile? So we're going to leave the LMS. Okay, so I'm going to click on the little person up here. That's me. And I'm going to click on View Profile. So this is all my information. This is where you can find all sorts of things. You can click on your team to see your org chart here. If you've worked on soup orgs, thank you so much. I'm well aware of the amount of effort that went into it. So thank you if you were a part of that humongous lift. But if you go down to your career tab, and click on career, this is where that screenshot is from. So up top, you see certifications, and that's where if I have taken one inside the Georgia at Work LMS and completed it, it will automatically show up on this tab. If I maybe have a professional certification that I want to add, I click add and I go through that process. Training. Let's say I went to some conference and attended a training. It's not necessarily connected to, end user training or this or that, but I think it's relevant to my job and I want to add it and have record here so that my manager can see it or my HR can see it. Bam, you can enter those external training experiences here. And then I don't see learning. So let's click on more. There she is. Click on learning. And here is another view of my learning transcript. And again, what I love about this transcript is if I want to go back and say, I don't remember that, or, ooh, I've not finished my Jagger test. And this is just a test course. I can go right here. I'm automatically to the course and I can click on resume course. And that's it, you guys. So thank you for dealing with our ugly demo. Joyce, I see we have a question. Will external training entered show on the transcript? Great question, Joyce. So note, the transcript will only show learning completed in the LMS. That is such a good question, Joyce. Thank you so much. Anything you enter for training will stay on that training tab, and that's where you'll see it. So your transcript itself will only show history from the LMS. Great question. Will we be able to create learning paths? So no, you will not be able to create learning paths. The only people that will create those programs inside of the new system are our learning admin and learning partners. There is a built-in functionality or Workday delivered functionality for end users to create learning paths, and we have not enabled that at this time. So if that's something that you're interested in and want to revisit in the future, this and the learning and then taking it to the learning governance would be the place to do that after go live. Great question. Any other questions, thoughts? Will there be any identifying information to allow cross-referencing with other LMS? So that's a loaded question. So and Jamie, what agency are you with?
I'm with DHS. And so
Okay.
we have a pretty large learning management system that we use ourselves, and when the end users are assigned training and when we have to get a report or we have to put something on our transcript, will there be anything that comes over? Like, for example, if can we get a report of everyone from DHS that has taken the training, and from that, we could take that information and put it in our learning management system. Rather, it's just, and what's going to be the identifying information? Going to be email address? Is it going to be state employee ID, things of that nature?
Yep, great question. So when that need arises, that will be part of a process defined, since our learning partners and learning admin only sit with those pilot agencies. You would probably submit either a form or a ticket to say you need this report, and then we would provide that report. Everything's real time, so that's a quick and easy process. And I believe it would be employee ID that would be the identifier for that. And what I can do, I have, luckily Rechna's here listening in as well. We'll make sure that if we don't already have it, we probably already have it in our toolkit. There's a template in place so that anything that you need to be able to load something into your LMS, because we won't have integrations for that. It would be, we provide a report and then you're loading it into your LMS, like you said. We could send that report over in that template so that you would be able to put it in your learning management system.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Yes, great question. Thank you. And I see Nikita, you have a question? And you're on mute if you're speaking.
I don't. I'm sorry. I think my hand was still raised from the Am I a manager question?
Oh, well,
Sorry.
good. No, don't be sorry. That's perfectly fine. So these
Thank
are
you.
really good questions, y'all. We're gonna document these questions to add them to some of our FAQs, and follow up with some of those things. And I'm so glad, Jamie, you asked that question, because that's something that once we have that, and I say once we have it, it's already documented. Our BAs and SMEs are working on that toolkit. I just get it once it's in its final draft. And that would be something that's documented in there, what these processes look like. And that's also something that we will provide out to the agencies prior to go live, so that when you have a need, you know the process that's in place to follow that. But of course, thanks to this learning community, we can share those ahead of time. So you're not just thumbing through a bunch of resources on October 1 thinking, who do I reach out to? Where's the form? What do I do for this? So thank you so much for bringing that up. The last thing I wanted to speak to before we move on, and I forgot to create a slide because we talked about this yesterday, was our current build that we are in the process of. So as you know, we are working, with GDOT and DOAS legacy data, as well as General Assembly and Office of Inspector General. So there's been a lot of data that we're pulling over. We have successfully loaded 40 extracts for DOAS and GDOT into our enterprise UAT tenant, and that has been done at a 97.55% success rate, which is phenomenal. So Rachna with DOAS and team, I know Aziz has helped from SPD, as well as Sridhar from GDOT. Those are our primary people that are sitting there working on these spreadsheets. It's very complex. There's a lot of manual effort in there. They've done a phenomenal job. So we're working to resolve the errors, that 2.45%, and get those loaded as soon as possible. Our goal is by the end of next week, so that we have a really good, solid tenant for enterprise UAT. If you're involved in enterprise UAT, you should be able, when you go in there and you're testing, to do what I just did and click on your learning dashboard and see what it looks like. So if you're involved in that, have fun with it. All right, Maddie, you can go to the next slide. Okay, so our management training, I think that's been my favorite meeting that we've had so far with this community, because there's so much passion around it, and that excites me. There is a need for some statewide management training, and we want to take it to the next level. So we had Al Howell, who gave us a review of the retention study performed by the HRA division, and then we had this survey. So we did have about 16 people respond, representing 10 different agencies. If you were not able to attend, if you have questions, or you want to be involved in this, here is the survey. We're opening it back up. I have a meeting with Al next week, so we can go ahead and discuss and plan next steps and be ready for something to share with this group next month in our next meeting. So Maddie has placed the link to the survey in the chat, and there's a QR code on the screen as well. I would love, love, love for you to complete the survey. Let us know if you're interested. We are so excited about this, and we think it's long overdue for our state. And this new enterprise-wide learning management system supports that. So I'll leave this up for just a second. I see I have a question from Sue. Our agency has creating training videos. Will we be able to upload them for our staff learning? What agency are you with, Sue? DPH. Oh, great. So at Go Live, only our pilot agencies will be uploading their content into the LMS. So that's DOAS and SAO. SAO is the owner of the platform, and then GDOT. So those are our only agencies that will have the learning partner role, who will be able to upload content. Everyone else will be able to consume content. Now that is something that, once we get past Go Live and we work out any sort of kinks, right, and that's our pilot, then that gets passed through the learning governance on what agencies are to begin utilizing the LMS next. So if you have a current LMS, that involves a data conversion, unless you elect not to bring history over, which would be great, makes it easy. And then you can just start with the learning partner role. If it's an agency without an LMS, that's the primary focus there is let's get you trained and set up, and then you would have a learning partner in the system. So all of that is to be determined by the learning governance. And I'll have an update on that as well. I know we presented, I think it was in our February meeting, the learning governance structure, and it was approved by this community. And then we've received our volunteers for learning governance. I think we have representatives from 21 agencies, if I remember correctly. And then in our next meeting in June, we're going to discuss next steps as well on the learning governance. Great question. All right, Maddie, you can go to the next slide. Oh, and this is you, Maddie. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you everyone for joining the meeting. I just wanted to make you aware of a few webinars coming up. We have Building High Performance Collaborative Teams. That's on June 3rd, so coming up shortly. And again, all of these webinars presented by Biz Library are free to attend. And then we have Return, Reset, Revive, an anti-grind approach to reclaim your energy and purpose at work. And that one is on June 4th. Both of these have credits available. So if you attend the meeting, you will get credits for attending that webinar. So those are just what's on the radar. If you're interested in attending them, you can click, I believe the PowerPoint is accessible. You can click the link at the top under upcoming Biz Library webinars. It will also be included in our newsletter to be sent out next week. So you'll have links to the webinars there as well. That's all.
Thank you, Maddie. And I know we don't have anyone from Biz Library in this call, but they've been a really awesome partner in providing us with these free resources. I mean, it's on the website. It's easily, I think Maddie pulls them herself at this point, but this is great. It's free professional development that we can share out with the state, and Biz Library has been so incredibly helpful to us. So we're very gracious to them. And this is great. Please share this with your employees. If you have someone trying to earn these certifications, this is a free way to earn some of that credit. And they are, I believe both of them, they're on demand. So if you can't attend during the session, they're normally recorded. And then you can still earn that credit if that day and time doesn't work for you. All right. So what's next? I spoke to this a little bit already, but a learning governance update. Next month, we will be focused on learning governance and what the status is there. We had, like I said, we've received volunteers representing, I believe, 21 agencies. And so we've got to start with the meeting cadence for the learning governance and establishing that structure and those activities and getting those rolled so that we have a strong process in place prior to October 1. We want to be ready to go at go live. So more information is coming as that gets passed through executive leadership. That's what we've been working on over the last month, making sure everyone at SAO and DOAS, the commissioners have had their eyes on that, and Officer Hines. So update is coming for that. Don't miss it. It's going to be a good meeting. State manager training needs. This is the one we're all so excited about. We'll discuss what's next with that, have some more information for you. We're working through that now internally to figure out what the next steps are. Not only did we have some great survey responses, I had a couple people reach out to me via email sharing their experiences, and I was really inspired by what I read, and I think I'm most excited about this right now and the fact that this new platform will support this initiative. And then lastly, of course, Georgia at Work updates. So I always leave room for Ryan or anyone on the training team if they have updates to share. And of course, any other updates that we have as we approach Enterprise UAT. The Learning Enterprise UAT won't be until July, but Enterprise UAT does start in June. It's a very large initiative there. So any kind of updates that I have and can share next month, I will certainly do so. Next slide, Maddie. All right. And there's your reminder. Thank you, Maddie, for always putting this on for me. It helps me as well. Our newsletter will go out next week. And then our next community meeting, we were looking at June 20th, but I know it's a state holiday for Juneteenth the day before, and some people go ahead and take this Friday off. So we've pushed it to June 27th to give the most people the opportunity to attend. If you have questions about the learning community, email us, please. There is the link. And then Maddie, will you drop our email address in the chat as well? galearning@doas.georgia.gov. This one is specific to the learning community, not the LMS. So this is our learning community inbox. If you have employees that you think would benefit from being a part of this community, please share. This is, we're focused on learning and training and human resources professionals, but it is open to anyone interested in this. And I think it's important that we have different professions within state government represented so we can properly identify what some of our future training needs may be. And, also this is a great place to get training updates across the board for the new system. So please share. If there's someone you want added, tell them to email georgialearning@doas.georgia.gov, and we will get them on so they can attend the meetings, they can receive, the slide decks, and they can receive the newsletter. All right, Maddie, next slide. And that's it. That concludes our meeting with 10 minutes remaining. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything you want to bring to this group in general? Everyone's ready for the 3-day weekend. Okay, well, as always, I know y'all get tired of hearing my voice, but I cannot thank you all enough. Your participation, your questions, your engagement is so appreciated. So enjoy your long weekend. Please be safe and take a break from work. And we'll see you next time. Thank you all so much. Ryan, thank you again for presenting. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Everyone.